Okay, it's 8:30. Oh, we're sitting down. Good evening, PAX Unplugged. How's everyone doing tonight? Great. You're at the Improvised Postmortem. My name is Baer. I'm going to introduce my guests here. I'm going to have them introduce themselves because it's always classy that way. So going down the line, why don't you introduce yourself? Say who you are, and if you make anything or you're displaying anything here at the convention, you can plug that right now.
I love to plug content I've produced. Hi, I'm Maranges. I'm the co-creator of Secret Hitler and most recently Inhuman Conditions, which we're showing at booth 3437. Yeah, somewhere around there. Come have a bad time if you want to get asked questions and find out if you're a robot.
Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Cory O'Brien, co-creator of Inhuman Conditions. I am also available to ask you questions at booth 3437, and it will be a bad time.
Yeah, we're both normal humans with the regular amount of skin and teeth. Thank you for having us, Pat.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. If you are confused, if you thought that you were at AC Inc. and you're like, this doesn't seem right, or if you're watching on Twitch and you were like, I'll check out PAX Unplugged, hi Twitch. This is a comedy panel, and I specifically tell you that it's comedy because we are, to the best of our ability, gonna have a good time and make you laugh. Intentionally, not accidentally. Because there are some panels out there that are really like, they're going to get deep into like issues. And if we do that, it's by accident. This is the Improvised Postmortem. And what happened is I crowdsourced from the internet, which is a great place, a bunch of fake titles for tabletop and card games. My guests here do not know what those are, and unless you really, really follow my replies, you don't know what those are out there. I do, but I forgot a bunch of them, and I will also laugh when I'm reminded of what they are. You may not know what a postmortem is, but basically, at like those like thoughtful conventions like GDC, they have these things where they do like talkbacks about their game, and developers kind of talk about like what went right, what went wrong, what lessons did we learn, and they're sometimes funny, but most of the time they're just like academic and interesting. And this is, what if you just had to make it up on the spot and like talk about that? So that's what we're going to do. I will start off. And I should say, before we get into it, because this is improv, and you may be familiar, maybe very familiar, maybe not, maybe you just know it's a punchline of a thing you don't want to go to, we're making it up as we go, and we might accidentally walk into something that wasn't fun in the moment, and we'll probably ignore it and forget it ever happened because it's improv. And even though it is technically on the internet, because it's on Twitch, we'll just forget about it. Remember the funniest thing from tonight and forget the time where you were like, that didn't work. Just forget about it, please. And I'm going to kick things off because I'm talking long enough about that. I'm going to talk about a tabletop game that I made. I'll start this off by talking about Mousetrap, but like for real. Now, when I developed solo, mind you, Mousetrap, but like for real, I had two goals. One, make it Mousetrap, but like modern. And two, make it for real, like for real. That was the main goal. And then the third goal, I didn't set out to do this, it happened along the way, which was, of course, use the blockchain. And that was really my investor's goal, was to get in on the blockchain. Now, did we know what that meant? No. Did we do it? Yeah, apparently. I say apparently because I don't get it. All I wanted to do was trap some people and have it not be one of those fake, like, I don't know, haunted mansions. I didn't want to do a haunted mansion. I wanted it to be Mousetrap, but for real. And if you haven't played Mousetrap, it's a very fun board game that you like setting up and not actually playing. And that actually holds true for my game. It wasn't fun to try to escape the traps. It was fun setting them up with a highly skilled team that I would have to rent every time we played. Our biggest feedback was that it was dangerous. So, at the end of the day, what did I learn from Mousetrap, but like for real? I learned I'm an ideas man, and apparently people hate the blockchain. That's the basic thing that I learned. All right, so that's kind of like what this is going to be. We're going to go in, we'll have our guests here do one here. We'll have my guests, which I did not fill in, and that's fine. But we'll have you talk about the game the two of you designed together. Oops, I made a card game instead of a card game.
Right, yeah. Well, first of all, let's talk about what went right. Cars are fast.
If anything, it was a greater engineering feat
Yeah, yeah.
than we intended.
At first, I was wondering where all the money went.
Yeah.
Because we were spending millions and millions of dollars at that factory.
Yeah.
And we weren't getting any chipboard or anything out of it.
And the paper shortage didn't slow them down, which I thought was great at the time.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that.
Yeah. So we hit the market a lot faster than we thought we were going to.
In the sense that we hit it at 60 miles an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for us there.
Yeah. So what we initially wanted to do was we wanted to make a sort of post-apocalyptic, Mad Max style.
Like push your luck, resource management.
Deck builder.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
And what we ended up with was a bunch of sentient robotic cars that pursue people around the streets of a now devastated current pandemic America.
Ironically, because of our inability to manage resources.
Yeah. So to everyone who is now serving as biological fuel for an organic hell car, we're sorry.
We did build rubber banding, I think, into the game, so things aren't hopeless.
Yeah, if the car eats too many people, it gets sleepy.
That's true. So, on the one hand, that suggests a strategy.
Which is be the last person eaten by the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it very much. Now we are going to move into part one of 2 lightning rounds. Now, is it weird to have more than one lightning round? I don't know. I don't make game shows. I make panels at conventions. So for the next few of these, the 3 of us are going to talk together about some of the games that we made. Of course, we were game designers that made a quite high variety of games. So let's talk about Cookie Card. I'll go first. I'll say, of all the games we've made, this one was the one that had the most cookies in it. And studies have found that that was a bad thing, apparently. People were unhappy with the amount of cookies in the box. They wanted cards.
Yeah, and it turns out that when you make a cookie that is also a card, the game doesn't have a lot of longevity.
I was unsure which of the 2 functions, cookie or card, people would lean into, and I thought it would be about 50-50. That was an exciting part of the process for me, was some people would get cookie, some people would get card. And I was wrong, and it turns out almost everyone focused on the cookie aspect of the game.
The other thing that we didn't foresee was the immense privacy breach inherent in tracking all of our users.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point to bring up. The first cookie is a physical cookie you can eat. The second cookie is tracking you. It's that kind of cookie, and both cards are cards that are made out of the first cookie. So it's really half a cookie card, mostly us spying on you.
I think a thing we got right was we declined to partner with Steve Harvey. I think this would have gone a very different direction.
I mean, we can't legate that anymore.
Okay.
I mean,
we had a noble goal, which is that we wanted to use the tracking data to deliver custom-tailored cookie experiences to our users.
That's what we wanted to do.
At a value proposition.
Yeah.
The problem was we had already delivered them the cookies by the point that we were...
Tracking the data.
Yeah.
And then we sold the data, and that was great for us.
Yeah.
That worked out.
The game was not very good, but we're all very rich now.
Yeah. We did great.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not the only game we made. We also made an expansion for a game that's fundamentally broken. The game itself was broken, and then we made an expansion instead of fixing the game, which apparently we weren't supposed to do. That's our bad. I thought people, once they got the expansion, would figure out how to actually play the game.
I think this is the first time that more game ended up being a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's never gone
It was
wrong.
like people were like, fix the game, and we were like, we made an expansion for it, and they were like, that isn't the solution. And I don't know what to tell them at that point.
I don't even, because everyone knows the first thing they teach you in game design school, which we all went to.
Everyone went to
I went
game
twice.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the solution to any problem in your game is to add more mechanics.
Yeah.
Right? More mechanics, fewer problems. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Because they cancel each other out. If you got like a bad mechanic in your game, then you add another bad mechanic that everyone complains about the new one and forgets about the old one, we thought.
In retrospect, we could have foreseen that the mechanics who were defectors should not outnumber the mechanics who wanted to run the shop well.
Yeah. And I think also that turning it into a social deduction game in the expansion might have introduced some complications that we hadn't initially expected.
I mean, I will firmly disagree on that, but I know that I've been outvoted by the people that bought the game and voted that they didn't like what we did, making a social
we
deduction
shouldn't have
game.
included that voting mechanic in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll concede that point. And of course, we also made Fart of the Cards, which was great. Thank you so much, everybody, for making Fart of the Cards our best-selling card game to date. And I don't, there's always a lot of laughter and snickering when we talk about Fart of the Cards, and I've never quite been able to figure out why.
I think the box art is probably...
Do you think the box art is humorous?
I don't care for jokes myself, but I imagine people who do like it.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah.
The idea of putting just an entire ass on the box.
Yeah.
That's where farts come from, so yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to say that I was against it from the beginning, but that would be a lie. I loved it, and
Okay, great.
yeah, I just think everyone needs to grow up, and especially you.
I mean, that's the big point about Fart of the Cards. Like, it was a success, so we're not unhappy about it, but it wasn't meant for children, and it wasn't meant to be a fun game. It was meant to be a serious game. I mean, we thought we were making, our Settlers of Catan, and turns out we weren't.
In retrospect, I think it might have been a mistake to change the name from Divine Wind to Fart of the Cards.
Well, look, peek behind the curtain. We couldn't use Divine Winds in every country in the world, and that's just bad marketing. So we went with our second choice, which no one else had ever used, apparently, Fart of the Cards.
I think that the underlying message still comes through. I think it's a couple leaps away from Heart of Darkness, but I think by the end of your second or third play, you can see where we started. I think we took too many passes. It took us too long to we started at, we had it, and then we added a bunch of things.
Yeah, like the farting.
Yeah. It's also, it was expensive to have one specific ass put on every box. Like, we had to license each of those covers.
Yeah, each box is a unique collector's item.
Yeah.
And apparently, y'all really love that. So who am I to argue?
It's crazy that the methane from the farts was only the second worst part of it for the environment. And I think the NFTs were a mistake.
Look, I promised we wouldn't talk about the NFTs. All right, let's go. This game, have been waiting for us to talk about the game that we made, which of course is a parody, in quotation marks, of Hearthstone. This is just Hearthstone. Look, we made Hearthstone, but you can buy it without feeling bad and play it without feeling bad, or conflicted if you don't want to feel bad, but you still we basically made Hearthstone. It says it is what it says.
A thing not a lot of people realize is we wanted to call it Dumb Hearthstone, but Nathan Fielder's lawyer shut that down very quickly.
Oh, because it is just, we made a dumb version of Hearthstone, and it's better, in my opinion anyway. I mean, I made it. I'll make it.
Second choice was Fartstone.
Yeah. Which is already a thing, so we couldn't name it Fartstone.
It was too close to our existing intellectual property.
Yeah, our own intellectual property. We sued ourselves.
Yeah, and bankrupted ourselves.
Yeah.
Which was, in retrospect, a regretful self-own, I would say. We should have.
Yeah, we
should
sure
have
showed
foreseen
us, and we also shouldn't have messed with ourselves.
And that is why all of the art in a parody of Hearthstone that's just Hearthstone is clip art sourced directly from Google.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what makes it a parody, right? That we use clip art?
Yeah.
Or screen grabs of Hearthstone.
Yeah, that is what is covered in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have lawyers, they sue themselves.
Yeah, they're so good they can beat themselves.
Yeah. All right, and of course, unofficial John Wick deck builder. We want this to be official. We wanted it. We fought for it. We did it on our own, and they didn't want us to do it. It's not a good game, and we know that. We know it's not great, and we'll own up to the fact that we know that we didn't make it as good as it could have been.
I want to say a lot of games go very far on the strength of their components, and so I thought including a gun with each game was going to make a big difference.
I actually think we made a really good game. I'm in the minority here, but the mortality rate amongst our players was, some would say, unacceptably high. The thing that surprised me, as long as we're doing a postmortem, is that actually, as far as fatalities from the game were concerned, we saw more deaths, or less deaths as a result of the gun we included, and more as a result of the pencil.
Yeah, what's up with that? We're trying to figure that one out. Like, it's hard to ask people, hey, how come your loved one killed themselves with a pencil we gave them? That's a tough question to ask, and we understand that. Like, the other things we can figure out, but that part, I'm just like, hey, be honest with us. What's up? Like, what do you think? And that we never gotten to the bottom of it.
The only data we were ever able to collect is that the last words of most of the people who died that way was, "Hold on, I want to try something."
Yeah. It is better than John Wick Hex, so we can all take that, because that's a not good video game. So we did better than that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good
Take
for us.
that, John Wick Hex.
That'll show 'em.
Showed you. That was worth it. I don't think I know anyone who worked on that. I think we're okay. All right. We're going to get into more of this. We got more things to do here. But this is the part where, because you may have thought, like, hey, Pat, you introduced your guests. You didn't say anything about who you are. And that's why I slip it in there a little bit, wait for people to trickle in. So they're like, what is this panel? This is a panel where we have fun, and it's great. Anyway, I'm Pat Baer. And when I'm not doing panels at PAX, I do comedy, and you can, and I build model kits, because that's the thing you can do. Look, you can do a lot of shit on Twitch, and most of it is just video games. But also there's other stuff, and I do some of that other stuff. So you should check me out on the internet. But also, you got the vibe at this point of what Improvised Postmortem is, right? You're like, okay, yeah. Pat crowdsourced some fake names, and they go through it and they talk about it, and I get this. I understand. I'm here. I get this. Well, I've changed things up for the second lightning round, which is I like to call the audience lightning round. And people that have seen some of my panels before may have wondered, hey, Pat, at the top of the show, you didn't talk about how there's no audience interaction, which is generally what you say. And that's because there is audience interaction. At this point now, if you would like to, at any point, there's a microphone there. You can go up to that microphone, and you're going to be able to play along with us. And we're going to act like the person who's at that microphone also made a game with us. We're going to do some of these ourselves anyway, but that way you can interact. So you can go up to that microphone. It's going to be fun. If you're like, Pat, I don't do improv, don't worry about it. There was a pandemic. I haven't done improv since 2019. It'll be fun. It'll be easy. And also, the great thing is, we're the fools, and you're a nice person that came to be in the show. So, and you also, I didn't tell you that was going to happen. So, if you'd like, at any point, you can go up there. We'll interact with you. We're going to do one real quick right now, give you time. Keep your masks on when you go to the mic. Social distance, please, at that microphone. It'll be loud, so you don't have to get up right on it. And we're going to have fun with that because we got time left in the panel to have some fun with you. But right now, while I give you yourself the courage to go do that, because I know I'm asking you a lot, I'm asking you to play with us. Let's do one real quick and talk about Monkeys Inc., which, Tommy, this was your baby. This was your brainchild.
Yeah, the idea of business monkeys is something that's always fascinated me from a gameplay perspective. And I think that Monkeys in a Barrel started out as, I thought there was a lot there. And I've always thought, what if their hooking together was a sort of unionization? And can I make a Euro game about that?
And yeah, you did.
I'd like to think I did. Critics don't seem to get it.
I think using fun as a currency in the game did actually do a really good job of drawing attention to how fun the game was not.
Look, games don't have to be fun. They can be challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And complicated and expensive.
I mean, do you have any idea how much people pay to have their taxes done? And I thought, what if that, but on the shelves of Target?
And you make it really cute, and you put monkeys on the cover,
Right.
and then children buy it and don't have a good time.
Right.
That's all it is. I'm so excited to talk about a game. So I believe, yes, we're going to be chatting about a game that we made. At any point, you can go up to that microphone, and we'll talk about the game that we made. I'm very excited to talk about the game that, we all did. Hey, is that microphone working?
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it is.
All right,
great. Let's talk about the game we all developed together, Rootin' and Tootin'.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if you could give us a little feedback on the new Barbie licensed game, Barbie's Horse Adventures Glue Factory Manager.
Look, concessions were made, right? Rootin' and Tootin' needed a product tie-in, and we went with Barbie, right? That was the thing. Barbie is associated with horses. We want to make a horse game.
I don't appreciate my past being brought up in this panel.
Yeah.
Look, similar to the monkeys scenario, we believe that it's important for the youth of America to be introduced to the more predatory aspects of business at an early age. And that's why we made a game in which you raise horses as a whimsical cowboy or cowgirl, and then you have to kill it.
And then Barbie grades your performance. This is a good video, isn't it? I mean, look, it would have been a great video game. It's a pretty good board game. Let's be
the
real.
fact that someone has to wear a Barbie hat and judge your performance makes it a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, we wanted to go GM-less at first. And then with the Barbie tie-in, we needed someone to run it.
That was one of our the mandates given us, is somebody had to be Barbie at all times. So somebody's always Barbie.
I recall Tommy having very strong opinions on the braids.
Look, people think you can just do any braid, and the brand guide was very specific about what kind of braids Barbie had, and I thought, well, the horses should also have that if we're going to get maximum value out of this tie-in.
Yeah.
And we're still in litigation.
Yeah.
And the glue that you get in the game, you can actually use.
Yeah. Let's talk about another game that we made with some people.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Let's talk about a game I'm very excited. The four of us worked very hard on this game. I'm so excited you're here to talk about it. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Let's the four of us talk about a game with real raw eggs. That was the real part. The fact that they were real eggs was your idea, and I loved it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it would just be easy. It was just instructions to your local supermarket, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, what do you do with the eggs once you have them? I mean, obviously, we all know what you do with raw eggs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea, I think that legacy games are an important innovation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The idea that over time this game would also change in ways that made you respond to it differently, I think that was the genius innovation about eggs.
Yeah. Because some of the cards stuck together, especially if you didn't clean up properly, and that really changed the game.
It might have been a good idea to laminate those. That might have been a better idea, now that I think about it out loud.
Nah, it was perfect. Thank you so much.
You did great.
Yeah. We've got so many games that we worked on, and we worked on it with a bunch of you. I'm so glad you all took the time to come today so we could chat about them. Let's talk about the next game that we all made together. Construction Season, A Michigan Summer, which was a personal project of yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to be driving through a whole bunch of construction zones, and just the delays we built into that game were just fantastic. And it's a legacy game. It never ends.
See, I've never been to Michigan or driven, and I don't quite understand what summer is, so this game was very difficult for me to work on. But y'all had your ideas and threw it together, and I was just like, okay, sounds good to me. Let's be a team player.
The box shape being Michigan was a mistake, I think. Retailers did not like that.
A one-to-one replica of Michigan.
Yeah, real mapland territory.
We won an art award because apparently we made some sort of Guinness Book of World Records size game that people thought was some sort of modern art statement instead of a commercial product.
We're lucky we did this in the summer, or there would have been many more fatalities in Ann Arbor.
Some people accuse us of merely putting a barcode on the state of Michigan. But to them, I say, game design is hard and largely invisible work.
And that barcode was very big and took a lot of buildings we had to take down to get that in there.
Yeah, there was a lot of construction. It was great.
Yeah.
We did a good job. Thank you so much. And thank you for all your hard work. We worked on so many cool games, and some games that really, touched your heart. Like Seinfeld the board game. Now, I'll say this, the four of us, we don't watch television. We don't go to stand-up shows. We didn't know what we were getting into, right? Am I right?
I was born after Seinfeld stopped airing, so
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
I was alive, and I'm old comparatively, but we all stumbled into this project. Let's be honest.
I thought Seinfeld, frankly, was an intestinal disease.
Yeah. And
That explains a lot about where we ended up in development.
Yeah, sorry.
We took the more venereal route, but intestinal still worked too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people liked it. I can't argue with people when they said that it was a fun game that they enjoyed making or playing. So,
But you tried in every comment thread that anyone...
Look, did I try to bury Seinfeld the board game? Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm one of those developers that doesn't like the product I made and tried to bury it. They're out there, I'm sure. I want people to move past it and focus on our other games. What's wrong with that?
I did want to say that taking a lock of Kramer's hair in each box did drive up market value. Made a collector item.
Yeah,
was a good idea.
Yeah.
he was really game for it. It was weird. He was psyched
he
about
was very
it.
excited
ball.
about that. I think it's really impressive, and Pat, I want to give you credit for the idea to make Elaine more of a metaphor. I think that really comes through.
Look, apparently, accidentally, I tapped into the reality that Elaine is an amalgamation of different women that two different gentlemen who created the show dated. And she's not a full character, she's just a bunch of ideas. I didn't realize at the time that I was tapping into something. I was like, I don't know how to write this character. Let's make it her just
Just make it a whole
An
thing.
amalgamation of two of your exes.
just make it That happy accidents are still happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to say accidents.
Nope. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your hard work. And of course, look, let's get right into it. Everybody was asking for us to talk about organic biology, the card game. Now, you're a biologist, right?
Engineer, biologist.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a reason there were so many cyborgs. It just felt right.
Oh.
Okay.
I get it now. Yeah, we developed this game over Discord. We never met in person when we made this.
Yeah.
Which is a fine way to, but like, in-person meetings are good too.
It's weirdly the only game I've ever played that plays better on Tabletop Simulator than in real life.
Yeah.
Well, you can run the simulations. Like, the protein folding is really intensive, and if we just hack at the server just a bit, we can get enough.
Yeah, the math you have to do for this game, we did play test it, but like, yeah, there's a lot of math in it, and Tabletop Simulator does its best to figure that math out, so you don't have to do it for yourself.
The Nobel Prize is what really surprised me. I mean, I wasn't expecting to cure cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won a Nobel Prize, and we were like, for a board game, and they were like, or a card game, and they were like, no, for science, and we were like, oh, cool.
Wow, good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the game itself is not very fun, which makes me. I think this project was ultimately a failure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I've always wanted a Nobel Prize for peace, and we didn't get that
No.
with this.
No, we did not.
So, thank you so much for your hard
Thank
work. Look, we're going to talk about a couple more games. I can't see everyone. It's a blinding light in my eyes. So if you develop the game with us and you want to come to the microphone so we can talk about it, I'd love that. I know you all have the syllabus. You all know which games we're talking about. But let's just talk about the next one. This one, only the three of us worked on this one, which is, of course, Business Time.
Oh, business time.
Tommy is obsessed with business.
Time.
Yeah.
Business to me is. It's weird to think that it's not art.
That's why you got into games, right? Because you love business?
It's because I love business and I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
And I thought, games.
That is where people who are bad at business end up. It's one of the places. It's not the only place.
Right.
But it is a great place if you're bad at business, is to invest time, effort, your own money, friends' money, strangers' money for the promise of something that is going to have to get made in a country across the world and shipped on a boat. And then one of those 3 boats that does it is going to stop being a boat. And then a harbor will just be like, yeah, we're busy. You don't get your game.
Yeah. Yeah. Backers were not happy about that.
No.
Yeah, but as we pointed out to them, that was the time portion of business time.
Yeah.
Right.
There's business.
You got to spend time to make time.
Yeah. Then
It was an ARG, and it is a tabletop game that's okay to play. But apparently people really want the end product, and they don't like the journey, which is just bonkers to me.
somewhere out there are backers still waiting for this game,
Yeah.
and they're pissed.
And they should be happy because they're still playing the game. Most people get a board game they buy on Kickstarter, and they get it, and they look at the box occasionally, and it just sits on a shelf.
Yeah, you know what they say? Give a man a board game, and he'll play it for an hour. Refuse to deliver a man a board game that he has backed on Kickstarter, and he'll be playing that game in his mind for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a mixed bag on Business Time. And of course, we worked on Crab Panic. I took the lead on this one because sometimes games can be therapeutic. And in my case, I was working through some stuff about crabs. Mm-hmm. Did I succeed to get over my fear of crabs by making a game that has live crabs in it? I mean, yeah, I'm better with crabs now. Some people are worse with crabs now after playing the game, but I feel pretty good about it.
I think that's the nature of games. Some people, you win some, you lose some. There are lots of people who play Werewolf and are like, never again.
Yeah.
I think if Crab Panic can capture that same sort of devotion / trauma, we're onto something.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that also the fact that we were able to make a real-time strategy game in tabletop through the medium of crabs is sort of underappreciated.
Oh, great! Well, we've got another game that we worked on. There's a 4-person project that we're pretty proud of, called Burp the Tabletop Experience, which was again, occasionally these happen, a very personal game, right?
Yeah, experience of burping my son, just trying to fit that in the box got really expensive.
Yeah.
Especially with the short shelf life.
Yeah.
But still, do you guys remember the magic of that first burp?
Oh, totally. Look, is it a disposable game? Yeah. Is it a game that you do it once and you're like, that was really fun, and then you can't really play it again? Yeah, but also, people buy games all the time they play once, if we're lucky. So the fact that this is my opinion on it, and I'll take it to my grave, everyone that has played Burp the Tabletop Experience had an experience. And that feels good to me.
And most of them had it at a tabletop.
Yeah.
Yeah, just we wish we could have really gotten the trapped burps in the boxes cheaper. Just it costs so much to get all
The first guy through the wall always loses money on an innovative idea.
Yeah.
If we have made it cheaper for the tabletop industry to incorporate bodily functions directly into games, I think in the long run, the long run, that'll be our legacy, and that seems good.
I think of us as game designers, you know.
Yeah.
We only made one board game, but everyone who played Burp, the tabletop experience, went out and made their own bodily function-based board game.
And the variety of smells that we captured just really made the collectability.
Yeah. Hiccup the card game is a million seller. And they wouldn't have made that game if it hadn't been for our hard work. So, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sputum of Catan.
Oh, great. Let's
Fart of the
just
cards.
get in. Yeah. Fart of the cards. Yeah, fart of the cards.
Those guys ripped us off.
Burp the Tabletop Experience walked so fart of the cards could run.
That's a great point.
Orcish Dating Sim, the board game, is one of those things where you're like, it sounds like it's a brainstorming session, and you're like, oh, we're done here. We don't have to work any harder on this. It's once in a lifetime. Thank you so much for the idea.
The problem was I couldn't really decide whether you were dating orcs or you were orcs that were dating, and I think we spent too much time in the prototype stage trying to genetically engineer orcs to use as a model.
Yeah, we tried to make orcs instead of just making a dating sim where you play an orc, which again is a no-brainer. And sometimes you think yourself out of a good idea. You're given a good idea, and you're like, it can't be that simple. We can't just make a dating sim board game like one of those things where you're just like dating, like who's the hunk, like dream hunk kind of game,
Right.
but orcs, because that's a great idea. But it's got to be more than that. We got to biologically engineer orcs and then see how they date and learn about them, and that's expensive and foolhardy.
We did get that orc army out of it though.
Yeah, but we got an orc army.
Yeah,
It's cool to have.
We've literally created a customer base.
Yeah. They because we had to introduce the concept of dating to them, amongst a lot of other things we had introduced to them, and having a game so they could figure it out as they went turns out pretty great. It's pretty nice for us.
I think it was a solid pivot. You don't always know where you're going when you start with an idea. I'm really proud of what we did here, and all of the research literature that we had to cover didn't do us any favors.
We also got a second Nobel Peace Prize. We didn't get the Peace Prize. We got another Nobel Prize in science. I want a Peace Prize. We got a science one.
For the orc army.
For the orc army, yeah. They were everyone's psyched about that orc army.
They said they would have given us the Peace Prize if not for it literally being an army of orcs.
Yeah. So I'm
much for
saying,
Pax Orcana.
Yeah.
Live your dreams. Thank you so much for your hard work. Yes, excellent. Yeah. Yeah, please applaud the Orc Army. They love applause.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I'm a little late. I know you're waiting on the reviews of the crab experience. It's going great. However, the sequel, Silly Syphilis, not doing too hot.
I mean, look, sometimes games come along and you're like, yeah, sure, make it. We're part of a collective. Everyone can just make whatever they want. I still think collectives are cool, but sometimes people just have their own vision and maybe they should just make their own goddamn game
Yeah.
instead of like throwing the label on it and saying it's a collective game. But that's me. We should.
In defense of this problem, the origin of making a game about syphilis did sort of start in the collective. Like the syphilis started in the collective, I think.
And then it's one of those times where, you know, you're sitting there with syphilis, and you're like, hey, there's a game.
Can we make a game out of this?
Yeah.
It's also
Inspiration comes from all sorts of places on your body.
is also expanded outside the U.S. It's spreading like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I mean, it is. I had nothing to do with it, so I feel like weird, like having my name be attached. I hate being associated with it if I didn't have anything to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, neurosyphilis is up for the Spiel du Jour, I think.
Yeah, they're the expansion.
Yeah.
We're waiting to see how that goes over. But yes.
I was about to say we'll make the jokes, but that's not true. We're collectively making the jokes. All right, thank you very much.
Doing great.
Let's talk about the three of us made this game. IKEA instructions. We just reprinted IKEA instructions, and people were pretty psyched about it.
Oh, I thought they're mad.
Oh no, they're mad, but
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean they're furious.
Right.
I mean,
at each other.
I
Yeah.
think, really, this is one game that truly shines with the introduction of a trader mechanic.
Yes. Yeah, the trading mechanic wasn't in it originally. We thought, look, if we just like print actual IKEA instructions and people will find them and be excited about it and maybe it'll even benefit them and maybe they'll try to make their own IKEA furniture or whatever. But yeah, they started trading among themselves and we were like, oh, that should be in the game. So we put it in the game.
Yeah, the original idea obviously was a deck builder where you had to build all of this deck furniture.
A literal deck builder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The box was a 1-to-1 scale replica of someone's deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually where we got the idea for Michigan.
Yeah, you start, sometimes in the iterative process, you're like, oh wait, this could be this. We'll table that for now.
Yeah. The table fell over immediately, however. Yeah.
And we realized it was a dresser.
Yeah. Meatballs were good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
Ugh.
look, no, sometimes you get offered a bunch of money to make a thing.
That's right. That's right.
And you don't have any stake in the game, right? But you're like, I could probably do something fun with this. And you're like, I mean, I do love Riverdale, and I don't know what to do about Magic the Gathering, but sure, I'll make a Riverdale game that I'll make some Magic cards that have something to do with Riverdale, and the people that like either of them will love it, right? We thought that everyone would love it, and they didn't, and that's on us, ultimately.
We knew very early on that there would be confusion about what tapping anything meant in these two contexts. And we declined to resolve that tension, and
Yeah.
I think that was a mistake.
Well, I think the real mistake was changing tapping in the hopes of disambiguation to shipping. And that, for some reason, caused even more confusion.
Well, because none of us really play, we couldn't have known like how that mechanic would break from the last set that they did,
Yeah.
right?
Because look, people who know more than us were like, oh, is it like Secret Lair, like those special cards that you can't play in like tournaments? And we were like, no, This is the new expansion for Magic the Gathering. If you want to get into the meta, you got to get Jughead. You know, he's a black 2/1 for 2, and like he does a whole lot of stuff. He's got flying, he's got haste. We really poured a lot into Jughead. And then the Magic people were like, we love this. And the Riverdale people were like, we love this. And apparently, that's it. Because the people who play Magic the Gathering, as far as I can tell, are just always unhappy.
Yeah.
I mean,
But again, games don't have to be fun.
yeah. Sometimes they need to be about Riverdale. I am expecting a few more people to come up, but we have some games that we made. Of course, we'll get through them. Stop It. Parents loved Stop It. Market research. The game for the whole family. The parents love.
Yeah, it's just that when the thing that you say to get someone to stop doing the things that are in the game is also the title of the game,
Right.
It's awesome.
it's hard to get people to stop doing the thing.
Oh. Yeah, I guess you're right. Never
I-
occurred to me.
I think about half the time when people were saying stop it during our play testing, they were telling us, stop this.
Developing
Stop it. But
Yeah.
they were just so mad, I thought, for sure, we've created this experience.
Yeah, they were jealous of us.
It was, to me, playtesting, market research, all of that, like user feedback, all of that, just told me that this game was something that people like they just kept saying the name of the game. They're just like, and I was just like, awesome. This is so cool.
I think this really vindicates a data-driven approach to playtesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we should drill down on this a little bit. Our playtesting process was we would do things to people
hoping that they would say stop it, and then they did. Case closed. Oh, great. I'm so excited to talk about the game the four of us worked, you know what, honestly, really hard on? We worked so hard on Fight Your Friends. It was a cooperative experience.
No, it wasn't.
I think
I mean,
This is what makes us such a robust studio, I think.
I don't think it is.
I think our biggest flaw with this, however, was when we decided to play test it at that elementary school. The parents were not happy.
it's not a game for kids.
No,
I think that news coverage actually really put us on the map.
It's definitely not a game for armed kids.
Yeah. But the only way to find that out was through playtesting.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to do the science.
Right.
Look, lots of tabletop games induce arguments among your friends. Accidentally. That's not their point. This game was meant for you to fight your friends, and you did, and that is a success in my book.
The first rule of game design is when you make a change, make a big change and see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't make small incremental changes. And we got our first fatality very quickly. Like, we got through this
Right,
game.
yeah. And then it was like, okay, now it's just a balancing problem.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of levers in there.
Yeah, some of which did actually kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why our expansion of the foam swords was a good idea.
Yeah, too little,
Yeah.
too late, but a good idea.
Yeah, if we had started with foam swords, that might have been a good. Look, also, there were a couple people that died because of the foam swords, and I still don't know why. And it's a hard question to ask people's families, like, hey, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
I hate to mention again the play testing. That wasn't.
Well, thank you so much. You worked so hard on it, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Some games are hard, and some games are easy. Fuck you, TCG. It just kind of like, I'm sorry, it just kind of like created, like the cards just kind of made themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you want to have all the cards in the game?
Huh?
Fuck
Fuck
you.
you.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
You can't afford these cards.
Yeah.
Eat shit.
yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah.
And then the response generally was, no, fuck you, I'm buying these cards. which as a developer is great.
Yeah, well, we went for a marketing strategy that is known as negging.
And you can't say that. You can think it and you can approach it, but you can't say that. You got to be like, no, fuck you. You don't get to play this. Don't tell people about it. Don't get the app companion that costs $10. Fuck you. Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hey, do you want to trade cards with me?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Then you can. You can trade cards, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. There were just the 2 cards, and maybe that minimized how far the game could go.
Each of which cost $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're millionaires. We didn't sell that many copies of the game, but we're still millionaires.
Yeah.
And we made Cannibalists, which was a passion project.
Boy, was it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what a passionate project.
Yeah. It's a cautionary tale.
I can't remember what about.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we started out making this about a Jewish wedding.
Yeah. And I was like, I feel like there are a lot of games about Jewish weddings. Do we need to make one too?
Yeah.
Well, I think a big part was you tried to use the pork at the Jewish wedding as the human stand-in meat, and it just didn't go well. No one, they went for each other instead.
Yeah.
And then we made it about pot, and people really liked it.
Yeah, we pivoted to a different smell that makes people hungry.
Yeah. Turns out that people who really like weed want you to know they really like weed. And if you've got a board game that they can play with their friends, they're very psyched about that. They want to talk about it.
The distribution network that we were able to set up for this game, it was difficult to get things across state lines,
Yes.
and that made it hard to expand quickly.
And some states made it seem like they were going to be really into our game. And they were like, oh, yeah, we have legislation to make it easy for you to distribute your game. But they're not. They're into other stuff that they're doing. They're not actually about it. So we found out. It's actually better for word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best way to sell Cannibalists.
It is one of the few games that is cheaper to produce locally
Yeah.
Yeah.
than overseas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an American-made product, which we're proud of. We don't want to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to clap, but okay.
For sure.
Yeah, weird claps are all right, too.
For us.
Let's talk about our next game. We've got a little time left to get into this one. Who's not a Dracula? There are so many werewolf games and mafia likes and all that, and who's a spy and who's Hitler and all those games. No offense.
To Hitler?
Yeah.
I don't know, that guy can get fucked.
Yeah. I know, right? But I was like, I don't know. Just one day we were just like staring at a whiteboard, and I was just like, hey, who's not a Dracula? Game made itself.
Yeah. But that's where you came in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, first off, let me apologize for digging up some dirt earlier. I know that was a little off key, especially for a business partner. But let's talk about our new development here. I think the biting is where we really nailed this game on the head.
Or the neck, more specifically.
Correct, yeah. And I think
we more staked it, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely had a lot of stakes in terms of how we developed this game. And yeah, we raised those stakes too, and then we put them into some people, which was a little controversial, but I think that, there's a lot of room for growth in terms of what we're doing with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make the sequel Who's Also Not a Dracula at some point.
I think the way that this revolutionizes social deduction games, or did revolutionize it before all of our customers vanished into the bosom of the night, is that you're not trying to figure out who is Dracula.
No.
Right.
It's like, can you find and stop the secret Hitler?
Right.
But no. It's about finding and eliminating everyone who's not a Dracula,
Yeah.
so that all of the Draculas can party together. Which
Well,
I think
right.
really resonated.
I think, it was an open question for me, theoretically, whether you could make a social deduction game where the bad guys started out with a majority and then it got worse from there. And we showed that, until you can't, you totally can.
Yeah, we invented the opposite of rubber banding, which is limp roping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I will say though, it was a little hard negotiating with those blood banks for the packages we included in each box. But I'm glad we got it sorted out.
Yeah, our players got to eat.
Yeah.
We didn't know there was going to be a shortage.
Vampires drink blood. We had to do it. Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, all right, thanks guys.
Yeah, no, well, thank you.
Corporate
Yeah, you worked hard.
It's called corporate responsibility.
Yeah, the four of us made a game, and I feel like we've got just enough time. This is going to be the last one the four of us are going to talk about here. We really got to get into... Let's talk about our relationship. Was a game that none of us wanted to make, but it felt like we had to make it.
Yeah, I think this was a really good follow-up to the Seinfeld game because I think it really lets you work through that trauma that created Eileen.
Yeah.
It was another one of those times where we were sitting around,
Which we do a lot.
having an experience, being mad at each other, and then going, is there a game here?
Yeah, it's one of those like, wait, could we say that what just happened that none of us want to talk about was work? Because if it was work, then I don't feel bad about what I said and did.
We can write this off.
Because we can write it off.
Yeah, we can literally write off all of our disagreements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Can of Bliss, playing that really helped us get into it too.
Yeah, it's a
like
good
two-
companion piece to Can of Bliss. We have found that, because we do a lot of market research, that couples who are not doing well don't like the game. And couples who are doing well don't like the game. People who are trying to figure out if they're in a relationship or if they're just friends really like the game. Really like it, because it apparently helps. Not intentional.
No.
Really glad we decided to leave the 1 out of 5 marriage therapist recommends off the box. I think that would have detracted. But the Tinder sponsorship, that really helped.
Yeah, it's got an app component. We didn't even have to make the app. It's great. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, so hopefully the next time we all get together and do this, we can talk about, I'm going to get real quick because we got to get into an outro. We're really going to just speak, we're not even going to be able to unfortunately talk about these, but I did want to bring them up so that we can talk about them in the future. Of course, Well That Happened, the metaverse, how's my driving, this game is haunted, too many rules, not enough rules, the game formerly known as Pandemic, an excuse to get together. I love that one. And of course, the game that was something that was really important to me to talk about, that I had a lot of personal feelings that went into. A card game with beautiful art that isn't fun to play, but a friend worked on it, so you just keep talking about how good the cards look. That game, the cards look so good.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Please give it up for my guests tonight, and give it up for yourselves. Thank you all so much for being here. Folks that watched it on Twitch, appreciate you very much for being there. Once again, the big one is twitch.tv/Pat Baer. On Monday, I'm going to build a model kit, and that's what I do normally, so you should watch that. If you want to check this out, if you missed some of it, the archive will be up on my YouTube on Monday as well. Play tomorrow. You're here for PAX tomorrow. Go find Inhuman Conditions. What the Twitter account is not Inhuman Conditions. What's the Twitter account for your game?
Confirmed Robot.
Confirmed Robot is the Twitter account.
That's right.
Does the Twitter account tell people what the booth number is?
It can.
It could. It should.
So it should. So you should go see that because maybe it was. Otherwise, just wander around.
Yeah,
You'll
look
find
for
it.
the 34, 37.
Look for the big interrogation booth where people seem to be having a bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Thank you all so much for being here. I was going to ramble for 2 minutes because I actually ended on time, which doesn't happen.
Wow.
Can we talk about how good the art in that game is?
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
It's one of those things where you're like, how talented are you? Do you have a Patreon? What's going on?
Well, and we didn't know what blind play testing was, and so we refused to do it. I think that's why that's how we ended up with the game
Yeah, so good.
being bad, but it looks so good.
It looks
art.
so good. The art is so good. So proud of my friend.
Yeah. I hope he does really well.
Yeah.